Masculinity is not destroyed overnight. It doesn't disappear because men suddenly become weak. It fades quietly through influence, not through force, not through violence, but through approval, rejection, expectation. Today, this is not a conversation about good or bad women. This is a conversation about psychology, about how male behavior is shaped, bent, and sometimes slowly erased. This is not hate. This is awareness. Here is an uncomfortable truth most men avoid. Masculinity is rarely built in isolation. Most men react. They react to female attention, female validation, female absence. From a psychological perspective, masculinity is adaptive. It adjusts to survive within a social environment. If strength is rewarded, men become strong. If obedience is rewarded, men become compliant. If ambition is mocked, men aim lower. If emotional control is punished, men abandon it. This is not only biology, this is conditioning reinforced daily. From childhood, many men learn one lesson early. Acceptance matters, approval matters, being liked matters. And as they grow older, this lesson doesn't disappear. It simply changes form. Instead of teachers or parents, the reference point becomes women. Their reactions, their emotions, their preferences slowly become a mirror, and many men start shaping themselves based on that reflection without ever realizing it. Attention is currency, and women, consciously or unconsciously, control a large portion of it. Likes, messages, smiles, approval, emotional warmth, sexual access. When a man ties his self-worth to female validation, something dangerous happens. He outsources his self-respect. His internal compass weakens. He stops asking who he wants to be and starts asking what will be accepted. Is this attractive? Will this upset her? Will this make me more desirable? Over time, decisions stop being internal. They become performative. Masculinity doesn't weaken because of women. It weakens because of dependency. Dependency always reshapes behavior. A man who depends on approval becomes careful, then cautious, then restrained. He starts editing himself in real time. He softens his opinions. He delays his goals. He abandons conflict even when conflict's necessary, not because he is weak, but because he is afraid of losing access to validation. And fear is incompatible with grounded masculinity. Modern social psychology rewards men for traits that used to be neutral or situational. Constant emotional exposure, continuous self-disclosure, softness without structure. Men are encouraged to open up, to express everything, to externalize every feeling. On the surface, this looks healthy, but here is the paradox. Many women say they want emotionally open men, but are often attracted to emotional stability, not emotional leakage. Stability means containment. It means regulation. It means direction, even under pressure. So men get trapped. They perform vulnerability to gain approval, but lose polarity in the process. They become emotionally expressive, but internally unstable. This creates a loop. Be softer, gain short-term validation, lose direction, lose attraction, try harder, explain more, share more, lose grounding, lose self-respect, spiral. Emotions themselves are not weakness. Unregulated emotion without purpose is. Masculinity is not emotional numbness. It is emotional control. It is the ability to feel deeply without being ruled by those feelings. When men mistake exposure for strength, they give up authority over themselves. And authority over self is the foundation of masculine presence. Masculinity rarely collapses in dramatic moments. It erodes in negotiations, small ones, almost invisible. Just be more like this. Why are you so intense? You don't need that goal. You're working too much. You've changed. Each compromise feels harmless. Each adjustment seems reasonable. But direction is not built through compromise. It is built through conviction. When a man constantly adjusts himself to remain acceptable, he slowly loses the ability to lead his own life. His values become negotiable, his boundaries soften, his vision narrows. This is not evil manipulation, it is social gravity. Most people pull others toward comfort, toward safety, toward emotional predictability. Masculinity by nature introduces tension. It moves forward. It disrupts equilibrium. That disruption often feels threatening. Many men unconsciously choose comfort over direction. They trade long-term purpose for short-term peace. They stop pushing their limits to avoid emotional friction. Over time, they may become agreeable, kind, supportive, but hollow. The external world sees a nice man. Internally, there is resentment, confusion, and a quiet sense of loss. Here is what most people miss. Women do not create masculinity, they reflect it. Strong masculine energy does not chase approval. It does not beg to be understood. It does not collapse under emotional pressure. It sets boundaries calmly and without apology. It does not explain itself endlessly. It does not negotiate its core. The moment a man blames women for his lack of masculinity, he has already surrendered it. Blame is submission disguised as anger. Influence only works where there is emptiness. Where there is no internal structure, external forces take control. Dark psychology is not about blaming others. It is about seeing invisible forces clearly. The real danger is not women. It is unconscious adaptation. When a man doesn't know who he is, he becomes what gets rewarded. He becomes what feels safe. He becomes what avoids rejection. Masculinity dies when validation replaces values, when comfort replaces purpose, when approval replaces self-respect. This is how men slowly lose themselves without realizing it. Not through failure, but through accommodation. Not through weakness, but through avoidance of tension. The most dangerous man is not the aggressive one. It is the empty one. The man with no center. The man shaped entirely by external reaction. Masculinity is not loud. It is not cruel. And it is not fragile. It does not need to dominate or impress. It does not need constant confirmation. It is quiet certainty. It is knowing who you are even when approval disappears, even when attention fades, even when you are misunderstood. Women influence masculinity, yes, but only where a man has no spine of his own. Build that spine. Build values that are not negotiable. Build purpose that does not depend on applause. Build emotional control instead of emotional display. And influence becomes irrelevant. When a man stands firmly in who he is, attraction becomes a byproduct, not a goal. Respect becomes natural, not forced. And masculinity stops being something that can be taken away. It becomes something internal, stable, unmovable. That is the difference between a man who reacts and a man who leads his own life.